How are you doing? How has your day been? How is life? How are you handling the many pitfalls and traps, as well as highlights and joyful moments of midlife? I am struggling a little bit. Right now it's 1:30 in the morning, August 23rd, 2024. And I'm up right now. A little bit of it is because if I were at home in New York, I'd already be up. It would be about 4:30 in the morning, and I'd be making my coffee and getting myself ready to go to the gym. But here in Las Vegas, Nevada, it is 1:30 in the morning, and yes, my body is dealing with the time difference, but also a lot of it has to do with the fact that yesterday, August 22nd, 2024, as I was on my flight on Delta from JFK to Las Vegas, I turned on my Wi-Fi on my Apple Vision Pro, and I went into my iMessages and went into look at my siblings group chat, and there were the words, "He's gone." So our father passed away yesterday, and this is something that wasn't sudden. He'd been sick for many years, and his health declined rapidly over the past 2 weeks, specifically over the past 10 days. And we were told that he had 7 to 10 days. He definitely made it past 7 days. We were hoping that he would last a bit longer, as his potentially passing away was literally in the same window of our mother's birthday as well. And though they're not together anymore and haven't been together for many years, I think as their children, we would have loved to have had things in its own separate compartments and not the flood of emotions all happening at once. That's why I'm here in Las Vegas, to see and celebrate my mother for her birthday, and was hoping to be able to see him before he passed. But well, life happens as life happens, and here I am right now, early morning or late night here in Nevada, and I'm left with more questions about how to move on as a man whose father's passed on, knowing the one thing that's guaranteed in life is that at some point in time, this is going to happen to me. It's going to happen to you. And how do you really not let this become one of the reasons for not living your best life? So there's this thing called midlife crisis. People call it, I don't know really what that really means. Apart from what we're told on TV and literature, that people get to this point where they realize that they are at the halfway point of their lives, and they start to regret or fear their soon to come demise, if I can call it that. And as a result, you try to do all the things that help them feel youthful or make up for time loss. All the you know what I mean. And for me, I'm not feeling that. If anything, I'm not chasing after, youth. At least not in the same sense of wanting to relive my teen years or my 20s or even 30s. But I am wanting to give my children the grace of my presence. Maybe that might have been the worst way to say it, grace of my presence, as dumb the royalty. But just being present for them, while working out my personal issues. Growing up, I didn't have the best relationship with my father. Some who know me or knew us would have said there was no relationship. And I had a lot of animosity about that, a lot of anger. And as a result, I really, truly believed that I was not going to be a father. I did want to be a father. And I might have told people otherwise, but deep down inside, it's not what I wanted, because I just felt like I didn't have the tools or the experiences that would allow me to be the best possible father figure to anyone. And as God would have it, I kind of stumbled into my profession as an educator, which has meant over the course of the past almost 20 years now, actually over 20 years, that I've been in the role of fathering many, many young people. Back then I didn't see it as fathering, but they were the ones who would tell me years after the fact that, you were like a father to me. You said a lot of things to me. You poured into me. You talked me off the ledge so many times. And what I thought was just me doing my job was God put me in the position to figure out what fatherhood looks like, what it means to be there for a young person, and to not just be there for a season, but be there for the long haul. And there are many adults now who I'm in contact with, and from time to time we talk and connect, who, say, thank you for being there for me. And this gave me the courage to eventually have my own children. I have a daughter and son. My daughter is about to be 6, right around the corner in October. My son will soon be 4.5 years old. And I look at them and I see my face in them, my characteristics, but even more so, I see my father in them as well. Their stubbornness, my son's handsome smile, that is so much of him. And I tell myself that, especially now that I'm older and I'm wiser, that my father did the best that he could with what he had. The information he had, his experiences. He didn't have an easy life coming from West Africa. Being a teenager in one of the most gruesome civil wars that Africa has ever seen. Literally being a child soldier. And the traumas and the post-traumatic stress he went through, I'm sure had a big hand in playing to him becoming the man he became. And through my experiences with him, I would like to say that I can look back and say I learned a lot about how not to be, but also I learned a lot about how to be, if that makes sense. Because I often talk to my siblings about the fact that if it wasn't for his being so tough, that we probably wouldn't be where we are today. Not making any excuses for him, but there's something to be said about being an adult and looking back in your life and saying, wow, all the other young people, who are adults now that you grew up with, and you would look at them and say, oh, I wish my parents were like your parents. I wish my father was like your father. I wish my father would have hugs me more or says kinder things to me like your dad does. And then fast forward into today, and those same people that you wished that you had their experiences now look at you and say, man, I wish I was you. Or they say, oh my God, you're so lucky that you're doing this and you're doing that, and it's weird because how can the things that you just hated so much about your parent have had a hand in shaping you into the successful person you are today? That's why I say I learned the things not to do, but also know that his firm hand, his being strict about his expectations of us had a deeper, long-lasting impact on who we became as far as the successful levels in our careers across the board, all of us. So now I look at my situation today and say to myself that yes, there are things that I would definitely not do to my kids, but there are expectations that I'm holding very high because I learned that from my father. High expectations. The only difference now is that my expectations come with an explanation of why. And I do it with my kids, even though they're really young, but I still do it with them. I definitely do it at my job. As a school leader, I have very high expectations. And often I hear my father's voice in my head. And I set the tone for my school community, for my students, for my teachers, and even with those around me. I know I'm rambling, but I just had to get things off my chest. And maybe at some point in time I'll make a more coherent video. But in the interim, I just want to say this. As we get older, we get into a place where we start to realize that time is not on our side. You only have but so many winters, weekends, Sundays, Mondays, vacations, conversations. Only have but so many left. Yes, there might be in the hundreds or thousands, but they're not infinite. There's only but so many left. And the question is, what do you do with them? How do you spend them? How do you ensure that when that time comes, that the finality of death doesn't leave your legacy as one that is easily forgettable? I am working hard for my children, but also I'm working hard for myself. in that though there's so much that you can't control, but there is so much you can control. The choice to be not just happy, but find joy. The choice to not live a fearful life, but live one that's defined in confidence of who you are and being able to say yes or no without worrying about consequences of others' feelings or others' wants and needs. Being able to choose yourself first. Because at the end of the day, when the time comes, it's a lonely space to be in. I appreciate the fact that my father, when that time came, was not by himself. There was somebody physically there with him. But however, the experience of his finality, we will never be able to understand, because though physically somebody was there in the room with him, it was his step to take. It was an experience that he would never be able to explain to any of us what it was like. So with that being said, knowing that at the end of the day, you will have to take that step, whether by choice or without choice at all. It's a step for you to take. So why not live your life with that mentality of, these are my steps to take. These are my decisions to make. These are the things I have to do to ensure that I'm living my best life, not just for me, but for those that I choose to live my best life for. That I'm grateful. Yes, I wish we would have had more in our relationship. But I do know the blood that flows through my veins and the genes that dictate so much of who I am are the result of you. My eyes, my nose, the dimples when I smile are so much of you. My son's eyes, his nose, the dimples that embed in his cheeks are so much of you. But also, the dogged mentality that I have is so much of you. And I'm taking that and pushing myself to be the best version that I can be on a daily basis, physically, mentally, spiritually. And I hope to push that line, push to that edge a little bit further, to make a little bit more room for my growth and for my success, but also push that edge, create more space for my son to do the same. And hopefully, one day, God willing, his children as well. Those of you watching this, just because you are now in the other half of your life doesn't mean that all of a sudden you should be dreading. If anything, you should be finding ways to really push the envelope to make sure that you are living your best life. Because, what will happen will happen. But what happens between now and then is all up to you. Stop pushing to tomorrow or saying next year, tomorrow, next weekend, next time. You only have but right now, the present. And I love when people say you have the present, and we have to always remember that the present is a gift. This is not guaranteed. The next second is not guaranteed. If you're lucky enough to see it, embrace it, take it and jump. Do something dope with your life. Do something amazing. And if you're lucky enough to have loved ones around you, do it with them. Also do it by yourself. But do it with them as well. Let them see how dope you are and how great you are. If you don't have that, still do it. Being by yourself doesn't mean you stop. Take every opportunity to do and document and leave a legacy. If not for just those that you love, but at least for yourself. Document it. Write about it. Make videos, whatever it is. Tell your story. Show those that you love or those that might stumble across your story how you lived your life. All right, y'all. Enough with me rambling. Till next time.